In this video, I'm going to talk about cell specialization in animals. It's important you understand the different types of cells, but there's only actually three that they really want you to know about for animals. The first one is a sperm cell, and it will come up again in reproduction, but that's fine. So it's actually a very simple cell. Okay, looks something like this. And it's got what looks like a large nucleus. That is where the genetic material is held. Okay, would help if I could spell. So that's genetic material, and that's from a male. Okay, at the front there's an area called an acrosome, and again you'll revisit all this when you do reproduction. The acrosome contains enzymes that help the sperm get into the egg cell. There's the egg sort of surrounded by this jelly-like substance. You can't really see it, but it is there, and the acrosome helps break through. Okay, then around the tail you have loads and loads of mitochondria. And if you remember, mitochondria are involved in respiration. Okay, and so mitochondrion, because I've only labelled one up. Okay, so they're really involved in giving the energy to the tail, and the tail is needed to swim with. So that's quite simple. It's got mitochondria around the tail to provide energy for swimming. It's got the tail for swimming. It's got an acrosome, and it carries the male genetic material. So it's half the normal chromosome number. Again, we'll revisit that when we do meiosis. The next one you need to know about are nerve cells. Well, they have to have bits to communicate, and they also need to transmit messages over long distances. Okay, so they look something like this. Again, very simple cells. This is actually a motor neuron. So I'll put a motor neuron there, or motor nerve cell. I prefer to use the proper words, because if you go on and do any more, you need to know it. You have a nucleus in the middle. And you have what we call a very, very long axon with a myelin sheath. The myelin sheath is really important because it speeds up the rate of transmission of the electrical impulse, because that's what it is. The nerve impulses are electrical. So that's a myelin sheath. Okay, and the whole lot is an axon, and that's how it transmits the messages. So some of the axons will start in your spine, at the bottom of your spine, and they'll go all the way down to your toes, tips of your toes. So they're really long, and at the end of each one of these little bits sticking out, they're called dendrons and dendrites. You don't need to know that anymore, but you have synapses. Okay, and the synapse is there to communicate with the next cell. So the myelin sheath basically speeds up the transmission, because you might not have been told that. Okay, transmission of electrical impulses, because that's what they are. Basically, it jumps between each of these nodes. They're called nodes of Ranvier, but you don't need to know that. You're very lucky. Okay, so that's your motor neuron. The last one you need to know about are muscle cells. Well, muscle cells have to be able to contract. Okay, so they're basically long fibers which are capable of contracting. So they come out looking like this, and they have the odd nucleus. Okay, so they're basically long fibers. That's all you need to know about muscles. They need to be able to contract so they can slide against each other. They contract up and then they can relax. And that's all you need to know about this. So that's cell specialization in animals. In the next video, we're going to look at cell specialization in plants.